Hello and welcome back. Well, here comes the part of the story I've dreaded the most. And you must please forgive me. I've had a very difficult time rationalizing how I would talk to you about this because what I'm about to share with you are pretty intimate details. So pardon me if I do the goth thing here and so, much like the story of Peter Steele of Typo Negative, I always love to say, you knew this story was going to end badly. And, well, when it came to Rozz Williams, we didn't want to believe it. And it was hard for us. It really was, because we always knew him to be the fun-loving prankster that he was, and he loved to sit in amusement as rumors would fly. Him, every April Fool's Day, there was a rumor of him, dying, by suicide. It hadn't even occurred to us as we were driving through the Barham Pass from the valley. Gitane was in my car, and we had just come back from a audition. We were looking for some film work, and I can't say it was too productive, but then again, we didn't really care. I mean, we were enjoying each other's company and having, good conversations. We're driving, and it didn't even occur to us, what laid in store. At that moment, I was impartially, thinking of the conversation I had with Rozz the night before. You see, he called to speak to Mary, my first wife, Gitane Demone cancer, but she wasn't there. And I said, "You want to take a message? Want me to leave a message for her?" And he said, "No, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk to you." And I said, "Okay. I'd love to talk to you, Rozz. I always make time for you." He said, "Well, I'm sorry we haven't got to talk very much lately, but..." He wanted to talk to me then. And, I previously disclosed a few things from that conversation, but some of it I'm not going to be able to share with you, and I'm sorry. Because as I've seen from some of the dislikes on some of these Rozz videos, I can tell that some people are not too happy with them, but it is what it is. And again, these are my memories, not yours. Now, understand, this does not invalidate anybody else's experiences or personal relationships with Rozz, because he was a jovial person and he was very popular. Even if he hadn't played in months or years, people still loved him. He was a true rock star in every sense of the way for someone who didn't have any real money or anything, or properties or nothing. He literally was death rock. One of the people that's credited with founding it, even though it's, there were other bands and there were other notables. Of course, none of this entered my mind as me and Gitane were pulling into her house. She was living at the time in Silver Lake. It was foggy that morning, and the haze started to burn off as we pulled into Silver Lake, and she invited me in, and maybe have a little coffee, have a smoke. And, of course, I love being around Gitane. I adored her, and, I loved her company, and she was so delightful a person. And we were barely there, less than 5 minutes, and the phone rings. It's around 10 o'clock or maybe 11 o'clock that morning. And her son, she had a 13-year-old son at the time, I believe that was. And, she also had her daughter, Zara. I remember her, of course, they're all adults now, but at the time they were still kids. And Rozz was, you know, their uncle. And so, you know, everybody had feelings about him. And you know, if I recall, Gitane didn't answer the phone at first, you know, or I believe one of her kids answered and said, Mom, you want to take this call? And she takes the call, you know, and the first thing out of her mind, and all of a sudden, before she even said anything, I could feel my heart sinking. Something bad was about to drop. And then it was. She's going, oh my fucking God, you better be fucking kidding me. That's what she said. She came out of her mind. You better be fucking kidding me. This isn't fucking funny. And then she collapsed onto the floor, holding the phone and with her hand on her head. And she turned to me and said, he did it. Rozz was dead. And flurry of emotions hit us. And what was said afterwards, I'm sorry to say, part of it I don't remember and part of it I cannot share. I'm sorry. But there I was, you know, and I might as well have been right there where he passed, because, you know, being in Gitane's home with her and her two children, it was just the four of us, and getting that news right there, you know, feeling the full impact of what was to come. Because, I mean, there have been other notable people. I remember when Todd Crew in the glam scene died. It was a big fucking deal, and you know, you can catch some of the rage from Guns N' Roses and that Welcome to the Jungle video, the live part. I mean, that guy drank a fifth of Jack after trashing Jet Boy over it. And I remember the death of Craig Lee, and there was a big memorial show for that one, and people, I mean, the vibe of that one was a lot different. People were sad, but yet celebratory, and there were a lot of famous people that came to that one. But Rozz's death impacted us like no others. Sorry. You see, he had more influence and more star power than anyone truly realized until it was gone. Well, not his influence or his star power, but the man himself was gone. And to this day, it's 28 years later. We're now in the year 2025. This happened in 1998, April Fool's Day. And all these years later, his shadow still lingers over the LA scene. I will talk about the memorial show in another video. I have to compose myself. This has been very difficult. And as I said, like with Peter Steele, you knew this was going to end badly. And for us, it was a day we never quite get over. I mean, I've lost a lot of friends over the years, and I'll be making videos about a couple of them later on. But this one is still with me. And I'm sure there's a few other people out there that feel the same, that still grieve for him. It's 3 decades later, and when I think of it, it's like yesterday. I resisted for many years. I tried to put it behind me. I even left the scene for a while. Nothing worked. It's like eventually I felt his call last month. In fact, I felt him. He was reaching out to me. That's why I had to go see him, and I broke down in tears. I broke down so hard. I stayed with him for about a good hour, just crying, alone. And apologizing for not visiting him for so long. I didn't want to talk to the fans. I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. I tried to tell this story to my my current wife and a couple people that are close to me, and it's always a hard one to hear. And lately, at Club Purgatory, there's people that were part of maybe not the first scene. I mean, I don't count myself as an original. I'm one of the elders of the scene because I came in after 1984. I mean, that's when I officially started. The founders of the scene literally started in 1980. I mean, they came out of the punk scene, and Rozz and people like Nicholas Schreck and Tiffany from Castration Squad and people from, and there were other people, including my ex-wife and Patrick Mata of Community of K. These were the founders of the LA death rock scene. In fact, California death rock, they created it. But it was Rozz and Rick Agnew, that put together that album, that iconic album, Only Theater of Pain, that literally put it on the map. I mean, literally. And to this day, this album is still played in clubs out there somewhere or in someone's home. They'll still be playing First Cavity or Romeo's Distress, in spite of what the youngsters have to say. It's, hey folks, different times, okay? I'm not gonna excuse it, I'm not gonna apologize for it either, but it is what it is. These were incredible times, and they were lived by incredible people. Maybe, perhaps one day someone will say the same of me. I hope so. That would be nice. I will talk about the memorial show in another video. Again, this has not been easy, but I had to talk about it. I've kept this to myself largely for 28 years, and it's been killing me. My own brushes with death have been numerous, particularly this year, and I have a big sword of Damocles hanging over my head thanks to this evil regime, and my health is starting to fail, and I feel Rozz around me a lot lately, and it scares me and comforts me at the same time, because I still have much to do, and I have more and more stories to tell. And you'll either love me or hate me for saying these things. It doesn't quite matter. This is my record. This is my story. This is my history. This is my truth. I lived through these times. These were my friends, and I love them all dearly. And some of you are new in my life and perhaps watching this, I love you too. Please take care. Treasure your friends. And in the end, they are the family that you choose.